Hi, my name's Scott. I'm a practicing physician assistant working in endocrinology. I'm also a type 1 diabetic. If you're interested in diabetes-related news, tips, tricks, product reviews, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be coming out with new content all the time, and I really do appreciate the subscriptions, liking the videos, trying to get the word out about the channel, and that certainly does help. All right, so let's talk about the Libre 2 and why I feel like using the reader is actually a better choice than using your phone, which just sounds absurd to have to carry something extra around. The phone is just a lot more convenient. It's hooked up to the internet, so you can share your readings with your endocrinologist. It generally seems like the better option, and I thought it was as well. So I was using the Libre 14 day for a long time. Once the Libre 2 came out, I was waiting for the app to be released, and that's why I didn't upgrade until it was. The app was released, I immediately got it on my phone, I started on the Libre 2, and within a couple weeks I realized that I actually preferred the reader over the phone. So there's a few different reasons why I feel that way, and there's a few things that I want to go over. Now with the Libre 14 day, as I'm sure you know if you've used it, you had the option of using both the phone and the reader, which was great because they both have pros and cons. But with the Libre 2, whichever one you scan with, you start with that, you're locked into that for 2 weeks. So you have to make your decision of which one you would prefer to have. Now, like I said, I've used the phone for some time now, and I've actually gone back to the reader. It's my preferred scanning device. So let's go over a few of the reasons why I feel that way. And if you haven't started on it yet and you're thinking about it, you might want to consider some of these reasons because I feel like they're pretty significant reasons why you might want to use the reader over your phone. So the first one, and this is really important to me, it's alarm flexibility. So if you look at the reader, you can see that you have three different options. You have your high alarms, your low alarms, and then you have your signal loss alarms. Now, all of these can be shut off. There's no locking you into any one of these. You can shut off all of these if you would like. Now, if we look at the phone, the same options are here, but you see one addition. Now, that addition is the urgent low glucose alarm. Now, that wasn't on the reader, and it may seem to some of you that that's important, that should have to be turned on. And that's how it is with the phone. You have no option to turn that alarm off. Now, this is a setting that alerts you if your blood sugar drops below 55, which seems like something that is fairly important, and I agree that it is. But the problem is with the Libre as well as other CGMs, you often have low alarms or times when your blood sugar is running a bit lower that isn't 100% true. I've had times where my blood sugar showed that it was 50, I do a finger stick and I'm running closer to 75, 80. So to me personally, I like the flexibility of turning that off if I wanted to. Say I'm in a meeting or something, I need my phone to not go off. You don't have that option on the phone. You are locked in. You have to have that alarm. There's no way to turn it off. You're pretty much locked in. This is not the case with the reader. The reader, you have complete flexibility. Any alarms that you want to shut off, you can. Any alarms you want to turn on, you can. You have the option. You have alarm flexibility, which is really important to me. I like having that option. So that's the first thing. I feel like that's something that might be very important to some people, the ability to turn every single alarm off if you wanted to, and turn every single one on if you wanted to. Alarm flexibility, that's my number one reason why I feel like the reader is a better option. The second thing, and this one's pretty important too, is scanning simplicity. Now that may seem like something that's so silly. It's not hard to scan with the phone, but the problem is with the phone, you have to go through 3 steps. And that would be okay if I'm scanning once a day, but sometimes I'm scanning my Libre sensor as much as 20, 30 times in a day, maybe more. Every time you want to scan with your phone, you have to unlock your phone, you have to go into the app, you have to hit scan sensor, and then you have to go ahead and scan it. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but this is multiple times a day, every single day. Whereas when you use the reader, it's one button. There's one button, you press that and you scan. That's it. There's one step to it. Now, most of the time, again, this isn't a huge deal, but there's a couple times where I feel like the complicated process to scan with the phone is a bit of a deal breaker. So for instance, when I'm driving in the car, I don't have the luxury of looking down at my phone, unlocking, going into the app. And I know you can do or the hard press on the iPhone where you can scan, which saves you a step, but it's still a process. I have to unlock the phone, go to the app, hit scan sensor, and then go ahead and scan it. When I'm driving, I really don't have that option. Whereas with the reader, I can have the reader sitting in my car, in my center console. I can grab it without even looking. I can press that button, I can feel where it is, and I can scan, and I can see where my blood sugar is. That's huge. The other time where I feel like this is really important, that scanning simplicity, is when I'm asleep at night. In the middle of the night, the alarm goes off. It says my blood sugar is high or low, whatever it is, and I want to scan. Well, if I want to scan with my phone, I have to take it off the charger. I have to unlock it. I have to go into the app. I have to scan. With the reader, it's right by my bedside. Most of the time, I don't have to charge it because it lasts multiple days on one charge. I just grab it, press the button, scan. Super easy. So that's the second reason I feel like it's just a lot easier to scan with the reader. To me, that's a huge thing. It's really saves me a lot of time in my day. Just having that flexibility, pressing one button and scanning, it takes seconds. Now, tied into that is my third reason, and that's scanning reliability. I'm sure anybody that's used the Libre 2 on their phone knows what I'm talking about. When you scan the Libre sensor with your phone, I would say 75% of the time it scans, it works, no problem. And then about 25% of the time, about like 1 in 4, you're going to have this error message pop up. Your scan was unsuccessful. Tap the scan button and scan again. This happens every single day without fail. Now, I'm using an iPhone. I'm using the most current iPhone, so I feel like it should work pretty well. I don't know how it is with Androids. I haven't used it on an Android, but with my iPhone, this happens every single day. I haven't had a day I've gotten through without this error message popping up. This becomes a little bit annoying every single day to be going through this. So multiple times a day, I'd say again, like probably 25% of the time, I'm getting this error message and I have to scan again, going through that same process all over again. And sometimes it'll happen in succession. It'll happen 1, 2, 3 times, and then the 4th time it finally comes up. Now, I don't think this is a problem with the app itself. This may just be something with the phone, the NFC chip, a problem with that. Because I know sometimes when I'm using the NFC chip to pay with my credit card, it doesn't always scan right away. I kind of have to move it around. So it might just be an inherent problem with the hardware of the phone, which Libre can't help. But still, the reader, I have never missed or had an error like that come up. I can't even think ever in all the times I've used the Libre. And I've used the Libre since the very first one. The Libre, the 14-day, and the 2, I've always used it. And the reader, I've never had this error come up before. Maybe once or twice in all the years. But with the phone, it's consistent every single day. It happens multiple times a day. With the reader, it's almost completely absent. It scans, it works almost every single time. You don't have to be exactly where you are with the top of the phone. So that's a third reason. That's another really big one to me, is just the simplicity of the scanning, pressing that button and knowing that it's going to work, or the scanning reliability, knowing that you scan, it works, and the numbers come right up. You don't have to worry that there's going to be an error message and you're going to have to repeat that process. The thing is signal loss. So with the alarms in the Libre 2, it's using Bluetooth to talk to either the reader or your phone, whichever one you're using, and to alert it if you're reaching a certain threshold of when your blood sugar is running higher, or if you're running lower, if you break that threshold. Now, it's important to have that Bluetooth connection. If you lose that, say you're sleeping, you won't know unless you have the signal loss alarm on, and then you're not going to be getting those Bluetooth alarms. So with the reader, I can say with a matter of certainty, I've seen this come up maybe once or twice, and generally it's just if I'm out of range from the reader. If I've walked far enough away from the reader, I'll lose signal. With the phone, I had it happen just today when I was at work. I was sitting right next to my phone. I went and I scanned and I looked and it said signal loss alarm. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. I have noticed it sometimes if the battery's running lower and I'm in low battery mode, sometimes it happens. But otherwise, it'll just lose signal for no apparent reason. Now, it doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't happen every single day, but it happens frequently enough that I feel like it's a little bit of a problem. And with the reader, I don't see this happening. So that's another really big thing why I feel like the reader is a better fit for scanning the Libre 2, for using with the Libre 2. I feel like because of the fact that it doesn't lose signal, and you can have more confidence in the fact that if you're sleeping, if you're in the car, you're not looking at it, you know that Bluetooth is working, you know you're going to get the signal sent to the reader to let you know if your blood sugar has reached a certain threshold. The final one is battery life. So this is going to be different for everybody depending on the phone that you're using, but I do find because of the Bluetooth connection, and there's no way around this, there's nothing wrong with the app itself, it drains the battery on my phone. And if my phone was only used for the Libre and that was it, that's okay, because I would charge it, according to that. But I use my phone for everything. So having something else on the phone that's continually draining the battery life is a problem for me. And the reader will last multiple days on one charge. I can normally go 4 to 5 days on a Libre 2 reader without having to charge it, whereas my phone, sometimes I don't make it through the day. Now, it's not just because of the reader or the Libre 2 app. Obviously, there's other causes of my battery being drained, but this is something that adds to that battery drain. And if I can kind of pass that off to the reader and just have to worry about that battery rather than adding on to the phone, that's helpful. So I feel like that's my fifth one. This isn't necessarily the biggest deal breaker, because like any Bluetooth device, like my Apple Watch, it's all going to drain battery, but it is another thing to consider. So those are really my top 5 reasons why I feel the reader is a much better device to be scanning your Libre sensor with. First one, again, alarm flexibility. The reader, you can turn off every single alarm if you'd like to. You can turn them all on if you'd like to. The phone, remember, you are locked in with that urgent low blood glucose alarm. Second one, scanning simplicity. The reader, you touch one button, you scan, you're done. The phone, minimum of 3 steps to get that scan in. Third is scanning reliability. Again, the reader almost never misses a scan. The phone, I'd say about 1 in 4, you're going to have that scanning error. Fourth is signal loss. Remember, you don't want to lose your signal. It does happen more frequently with the phone compared to the reader. And then finally, battery life. Battery life, this does drain it a bit with the app. Again, it's not a fault of the Freestyle Libre app, but it is something else to consider. So again, those are my top 5 reasons. Let me know what you're using, or if any of those things, maybe you have any tips or solutions to that maybe I wasn't aware of. And let me know which one you prefer in the comments. Again, thank you so much for watching the video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do.